welcome back to the Mr. Excel netcast. I'm Bill Jelen. I want to send a thanks to Scott Fox of scottfoxradio.com. Last week I spent about an hour with Scott talking about Mr. Excel and how we got started and why I give everything away for free. Great little story about the early days of Mr. Excel. So just go to scottfoxradio.com if you're interested in listening to that. Today we have a question sent in by Mark from New Hampshire, and I love this question because it's one that's been driving me crazy forever. Mark tries to record a macro using the AutoSum button. So let's do Tools, Macro, Record New Macro, and we'll just shortcut key of Control-A, store it in this workbook. Now we're smart enough to turn on relative reference, and then we simply press the AutoSum button. And it comes up with a formula of adding up the 11 cells immediately above. So we'll press stop, and now we try this macro again. You would think that the macro recorded the action of pressing the AutoSum. So I run the macro, Control-A, and I get the exact same answer. When we look, the formula only went up 11 cells, just like it did in the original macro. And this is so frustrating that Microsoft cannot record the act of pressing the AutoSum button. So Mark said, is there any way to get around this? And it's completely unintuitive and something that we would never do in real life, but there is a way. Think about the formula. If we would put in a formula here, how would you tell the macro recorder, look, we want to go from the cell right above us, but we always want to go back to cell, in this case, G1. Always row 1. No matter what, we want to go back to row G1. Well, we would type $1 to G11, no dollar signs in that last piece. So there's only $1 there. And when we use that with the macro recorder, it will get the right answer. So let's try it again. Tools, Macro, Record New Macro. Shortcut key, I'll go Control-S this time. And I'll type a formula, equal sum, $1 to G11, only $1, Control-Enter, and now I'll stop recording. Now, it's a hassle to do that during the macro recording process instead of just hitting the AutoSum. However, that basically teaches Excel to do what you would have thought the AutoSum would have been recorded as. So here's a little test. We'll do Control-S. Sure enough, it got the whole situation, even if it had less numbers. So I'll put in a few less numbers and go here. Now, if I would have run Control-A here, I would have gotten an error because it would try and go up 11 rows. But I'll do Control-S, the second macro, and it works just fine. So a huge, huge gotcha with the macro recorder. It cannot do the AutoSum correctly. Basically, you have to trick Excel into writing the correct code by typing the formula yourself and locking that top row with the $sign. Well, I want to thank Mark for sending that question in. I want to thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another netcast from Mr. Excel.